Rising Together, The Unstoppable Power of Black Women in Business. Have you ever felt completely alone in your struggle? That moment when you're staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., wondering if anyone else understands what you're going through. I recently had the privilege of interviewing Debra Bailey, whose insights into the challenges and triumphs of Black women entrepreneurs left me profoundly moved. Deborah isn't just a successful entrepreneur herself, she's a visionary who has dedicated her life to creating pathways for others, a woman whose quiet determination has helped reshape the landscape of American business. Her wisdom forms the foundation of what I'm sharing today, and I can't overstate how her work has transformed thousands of lives, including my own. The truth is, we're never as alone as we think we are, especially for Black women, professionals, and entrepreneurs. That feeling of isolation can be overwhelming. But here's what Deborah Bailey taught me: behind every closed door where a woman sits in doubt, thousands of others are experiencing the same fears, the same obstacles, the same moments of both despair and triumph. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. Between 2014 and 2019, Black women created businesses at a higher rate than any other demographic in America. Think about that for a second. Despite facing some of the most significant systemic barriers, from pay inequality to limited access to capital, Black women weren't just surviving, they were creating, building, and transforming the business landscape. But statistics only tell part of the story. The real power lies in the individual journeys. Consider this story Deborah shared with me. In 2023, a Black woman, let's call her Maya, was among 300,000 Black women who lost their jobs during a massive economic downturn. The unemployment rate for Black women had jumped from 4.2% to a staggering 7.8% by mid 2025. Maya had spent 15 years climbing the corporate ladder, only to have the rug pulled out from under her. Now, this is typically where society expects the story to turn tragic. But Maya refused to follow that script. Instead of seeing her layoff as an ending, she viewed it as an unexpected beginning. She took her severance package and launched the business she'd been dreaming about for years, but never had the right time to start. Was she terrified? Absolutely. Did she have moments of doubt? Every single day. What made the difference was that Maya discovered something crucial. She wasn't alone. She found the Black Women's Business Network Expo, where she connected with mentors who had walked similar paths. These weren't just networking opportunities, they were lifelines. Women who understood both the universal challenges of entrepreneurship and the specific hurdles Black women face in business. 2 years later, Maya's business wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. She had hired 5 other women who had also been laid off, creating a ripple effect of opportunity in her community. The woman who once feared she'd never recover from her job loss was now helping others rebuild their lives. This is what Deborah Bailey means when she talks about resilience leading to progress. It's not just about bouncing back, it's about bouncing forward, creating something stronger, more inclusive, and more impactful than what existed before. But here's the thing about resilience: it's not a solo sport. And that brings me to the second lesson from my conversation with Deborah Bailey: the critical importance of support networks. The data is clear on this. According to research shared by Deborah, businesses with strong community connections are 31% more likely to survive their first 5 years. For Black women entrepreneurs who often face additional barriers to traditional funding and support, These networks aren't just helpful, they're essential. This reminds me of another powerful example Deborah shared about the Afrotech conference. Each year, thousands of aspiring tech leaders, many of them young Black professional women, gather for what on the surface looks like a typical industry conference. But beneath the workshops and keynotes lies something far more transformative. Attendees often arrive feeling isolated in predominantly white tech environments, having faced repeated rejection and lacking mentors who share their lived experiences. But something magical happens in that space. Women who entered feeling like outsiders leave as part of a community. They connect with mentors who understand their unique challenges, not just in theory, but through personal experience. The results speak for themselves. Numerous attendees have gone on to launch successful startups or secure leadership positions at top firms after building relationships at the conference. Several have even returned years later as keynote speakers, now employing dozens across multiple states. What's particularly striking about this example is how it illustrates that no journey is truly solitary if we actively seek out supportive communities. The conference has become more than an event. It's proof that when Black women come together, isolation transforms into innovation. But let's be honest, finding these communities isn't always easy, especially when you're already struggling to keep your head above water. That's why Debra Bailey emphasized the importance of intentional connection. The surge in Black women's entrepreneurship between 2014 and 2019 didn't happen by accident. It was fueled by advocacy groups like the National Association of Women Business Owners, providing resources, by policy reforms ensuring more equitable treatment, and by conferences creating spaces specifically designed for these entrepreneurs to thrive. The results have been nothing short of revolutionary. Black owned businesses grew by over 50% during this period, creating jobs for millions of workers nationwide. More than 12 million US businesses are now owned by women, with significant representation from Black founders. And dozens have reached Fortune 500 status. This movement has fundamentally shifted perceptions about who leads American businesses while providing visible role models across industries. When a young Black girl sees a woman who looks like her at the helm of a successful company, her sense of what's possible expands exponentially. But here's what Deborah Bailey wants us to understand. Behind these impressive statistics are individual women making daily choices to support each other. It's the established entrepreneur who takes time to mentor newcomers. It's the conference organizer who ensures speakers represent diverse experiences. It's the business owner who intentionally sources from other women owned companies. These aren't just nice gestures, they're strategic investments in a more equitable future. When we lift as we climb, we create pathways that didn't exist before. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This all sounds great, but I'm just trying to survive right now. I don't have the luxury of thinking about community building or mentorship. I hear you. And so would Deborah Bailey. The reality is that for many Black women professionals and entrepreneurs, each day brings new challenges, from microaggressions in the workplace to funding disparities to the exhaustion of constantly having to prove your worth. But that's precisely why connection matters so much. It's in our most difficult moments that community becomes not a luxury, but a necessity. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do when facing adversity is to reach out. both to seek support and to offer it. This isn't about toxic positivity or suggesting that systemic problems can be solved through individual actions alone. The barriers facing Black women in business are real and require structural change. But while we work toward those larger shifts, we can create micro communities of support that help us not just survive, but thrive in the meantime. As Debra Bailey so eloquently expressed, you are not alone isn't just a comforting platitude. It's a radical truth with the power to transform both individual lives and entire industries. So, where do we go from here? What does this mean for each of us in this room today? I challenge you to become an active participant in this transformation. If you're a Black woman entrepreneur or professional, recognize that your voice matters, your presence matters, and your success isn't just personal, it's political. Reach out to others who might be struggling. Share your story, not just the highlight reel, but the messy, complicated journey that brought you here. If you're not a Black woman but want to be an ally, ask yourself, how am I using my privilege, my platform, my resources to create space for voices that have historically been marginalized? Are you mentoring? Are you investing? Are you amplifying? Are you listening? For everyone here today, commit to one tangible action this week. Maybe it's attending a networking event for underrepresented entrepreneurs. Maybe it's reviewing your company's hiring practices. Maybe it's simply reaching out to someone who might be feeling isolated and saying, I see you and you're not alone. Because here's the truth that Debra Bailey's work has illuminated so powerfully. When we dismantle the myth of solitary struggle, when we recognize that our individual challenges are part of a collective experience, we don't just change businesses, we change lives. We don't just build companies, we build legacies. And in a world that often feels designed to keep us separate, disconnected, and competing against each other, choosing connection is not just compassionate, it's revolutionary. So tonight, if you find yourself staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., wondering if anyone else understands what you're going through, remember this: you are seen, you are valued, and most importantly, you are not alone. Somewhere, another woman is awake too, facing similar doubts, similar fears. Reach out, connect, transform. Because when we rise together, we don't just reach new heights, we redefine what's possible. Thank you.